in preparation, it will be really helpful for you to have access to a place where you can lie down. It doesn't have to be the floor. It could be a sofa, it could be a bed. And similarly, it'll be helpful for you to have a place where you can sit, and that could be on the floor like I'm seated, or you could sit in a chair. So it really doesn't much matter. I just happen to love the floor, so that's where I am. But if you prefer a chair or a sofa or a bed, that is absolutely fine. If you do choose the floor, it will be helpful for you to have a blanket and a pillow. You won't necessarily need them for sure, but it's kind of nice to have something soft under your head once you settle onto your back. So you might take a moment just to gather up your supplies. And I also need to let you know that I'm recording this meeting. I may or may not post it publicly, but please be sure that you are on mute. Otherwise, because of the way I'm recording, you'll become the star of the show if there's any sound in your room. So just make sure that the little microphone on your screen is clicked so that it's red and has a little line through it. So as people are getting settled in, great, good. All right, I will go ahead and get us started. So my traditional way of starting us into a class is that I will ring a bowl. And once the bowl has begun, I let it vibrate for a moment. You may or may not hear that very well over Zoom. But just know that if there is like a moment of no sound, it's I can still hear the bowl, but you can't. So we'll go from there. All right, so find a comfortable seat to begin with, and I will get us started. Welcome to this breathing practice. This is definitely a challenging time in our lives. We've been through a lot, and 2020 is probably a year that will go down in the history books as being pretty hard on our nervous systems. Between strained politics and pandemics and social distancing and all of those kinds of things, our nervous systems have been pretty disrupted for a lot of this year. And yoga has a lot to offer in terms of helping us calm our nervous systems. And the breath is one particular mechanism that is really, really helpful. And there are a lot of reasons for this, but one of the big reasons is that the breath gives us conscious access into our autonomic nervous system. So our autonomic nervous system is the part of the nervous system that evolved to ensure our survival. So it really runs all of the automatic functions in your body that keep you alive. Your heartbeat, your digestion, your immune response, all kinds of things. And all of this happens outside of our awareness, which is really good, because if you think about it, if you were in charge of keeping your heart beating and your mind got distracted, that would be kind of big trouble. And so it's really good that we have an autonomic nervous system that just keeps everything functioning and helps us survive. Now, that nervous system also has ways of sensing danger or life threat in the environment. And so when big things happen in your life, that nervous system, that autonomic nervous system, can kick you into a fight or flight response if there's something dangerous enough that you need to protect yourself, or if something really, really traumatic and life-threatening is happening, it can kick you into a response where you freeze and you submit. It's like the deer in the headlights, or it's like the possum playing dead. We have that same nervous system response that those animals use. Now, the really fascinating thing is that we also have a survival response that's hardwired into our autonomic nervous system that is all about social connection. And this branch of the nervous system didn't come on board until mammals came around. And since we are a mammal, we benefit from this. And we benefit especially because we also have a prefrontal cortex where we sort of really can think about things. So we have this third survival response, and it's a response of connecting. It's a response of being in community, being with people. It is absolutely essential to us as humans to have community. And so it's not a surprise that people are so dysregulated right now, because what else do we have going on? We have a pandemic, and we're told to social distance. We're told not to touch people unless we live with them. And so that whole side of the autonomic nervous system that signals that we're safe is kind of going a little bit haywire. And I'm kind of glossing over the details here. So a lot is coming together right now to keep us kind of on edge, to keep us a little bit anxious, to keep our nerves a bit frayed. And so the breath is a really nice way of moving in and actually moving us into a branch of the autonomic nervous system that helps settle our nerves, that helps settle that cortisol release that comes from wanting to fight or against something. And the breath is actually can be under our conscious control. So even though it happens most of the time outside of our conscious control, we can choose to change our breath, to change our perception of how safe we are in the moment, and to move us into that parasympathetic branch of the nervous system that allows us to rest, to digest, to connect with other people, and to feel a little bit more grounded. And so today, the kind of breathing that we will do will take you into that more regulated nervous system state, and hopefully will feel you just leave you feeling just a little bit calmer and a little bit more collected by the end of this class. So for those of you who are joining us along the way, we're starting in a seat. You can be seated in a chair or on the floor. It's totally fine. So we will start with a little opening centering. And for this, I do invite you to take a seat. Again, it doesn't matter where. Just make sure your body is comfortable. And then if it feels appropriate for you, you might choose to close your eyes. If that doesn't feel right, then you can just lower your gaze a little bit, maybe find a spot on the floor in front of you. Sort of downcasting the eyelids and the eyes. And draw your attention inward. And as you're moving your attention inward, begin to notice where your body is making contact with the earth. So you might feel the earth beneath you as the seat of a chair that's supporting your legs and your seat. Or if you're sitting on the ground, you might feel the earth as the mat or the carpet or the wood beneath you. I invite you to really feel those contact points between your body and the earth. And I invite you to grow a sense of rooting into the earth through those contact points. A sense of grounding yourself into the earth, feeling your connection to this planet that is holding all of us, regardless of where we are in this moment. We are all sharing this joint planet. We are all grounding into the same earth. So I invite you to feel very consciously your connection to the ground and to let yourself really feel rooted. And then from this downward, nice, heavy feeling of rooting into the earth, feel the response from the earth, feel the rebound, and feel that as a lengthening through the spine as the crown of your head draws upward toward your ceiling, toward the sky. So that in addition to feeling grounded, you also have a sense of spaciousness, a sense of uplift as you're sitting here attending to your body. And as you're feeling both of these forces, the force of grounding, the force of gravity, and the force of lifting up, of expansion, perhaps you can become aware that your body is continuously interacting with your breath. You might notice the breath in the body by paying attention to your nostrils and noticing that as you inhale, there is a sense of coolness as air travels into the nose. And you might sense the breath as you're breathing out through the nose as a sense of warmth in your nostrils. And so for a couple rounds of breath, really begin to notice this interaction between the body and the breath in your nose. Breathing in cool air, breathing out warm air. That warm air, of course, was warmed by your own body as breath traveled through it. You might also feel the interaction between your body and your breath as movement in the belly. You might notice a gentle rising of the belly as you inhale and a gentle falling as you exhale. This might not be a large movement, it might be very subtle. There's this gentle pulsation in your belly as breath moves in and out. Another way in which you can feel that dance between body and breath might be in the gentle expansion and contraction of your lower rib cage. Your rib cage expands outward as the lungs fill and draws back in ever so gently as air flows out of your lungs. Your body and your breath are in a continuous dance with one another. The breath nurtures the body, and the body moves in ways that facilitate the traveling in of the inhalation and the release of the exhalation. Take a moment to feel that pulsation, that dance between breath and body. Become very conscious of yourself as a living, breathing being. As you continue to feel the pulsation of the breath in your body. Breath moving in, breath moving out. The body expanding to receive breath. The body contracting as breath travels out. We will explore this dance of breath and body in a variety of gentle movements and practices today. And so as we get started today, I invite you now to bow your head to your heart for a moment. And from this place of having explored the dance between breath and body, invite an intention for your time in this class today. This might be a simple word or phrase that creates a sense of purpose for you. It might be something like peace or cultivating gratitude. Just invite an intention, a cause, a purpose to emerge. And if something did arise for you, perhaps take a breath in and seal that intention into your heart. And then take a breath out and send that intention into your world. From here, I invite you to lift your gaze, to open the eyes if they were closed. And we will come to standing for just a little while to bring a little bit of extra movement into the body, moving body and breath in unison. So I invite you to come to a simple standing position. You could also stay seated in a chair if that feels more comfortable for you. Everything we will do will work in a seated position. So it's really your call. So wherever you are, whether you're seated in a chair or whether you're standing up in your room, I invite you now to take a breath in, and as your breath travels in, let the arms travel up and overhead with the inhalation. With the exhalation, let the arms travel down. Use your own breath as a guide here, so don't just follow my movements. Let the breath move the arms, inhaling them up and exhaling them down. So how quickly you move really is dictated by how long or how short your breath is. You could, even if you feel balanced enough, close your eyes here to shut out external stimuli about how fast or slow other people are moving, so that you are truly moving the arms with your breath cycle. We'll do this 2 or 3 more times. And then the next time your arms are overhead, I invite you to keep them there. And I will kneel so you can see my arms, so you can see what I'm doing. And then the next time you exhale, bend your body to the right. So you're making a C shape. It doesn't have to be big. The range of motion doesn't matter. And then as you inhale, lift back up. And as you exhale, move to the other side. And move back and forth like this with the breath. Inhaling your body up and exhaling into a side bend. And depending on how you feel today, you can make this a really gentle and small movement, or you can even allow the hips to move in the opposite direction of the hands. Just notice your own body and notice how it wants to dance with the breath in this moment. We're gently opening the side body, inviting parts of the lungs to wake up that maybe don't receive as much nourishment sometimes as they could. So we're just inviting some gentle movement to get the body really ready to receive very deep, very long breaths. The next time you have moved your hands to the left, let that be your last side bend. And then inhale up, and when you exhale, bring the arms back down to your side. Very nice. From here, you will yet again inhale the arms up. This time you'll bring them into goalpost or cactus. And I'll show this from the side so that you can see what I'm doing. And you can, again, stay standing, or you can do this seated or kneeling for that matter. And then as you inhale, take a really gentle back bend. This is not a big movement at all. And then when you exhale, move forward and just hug the arms, the elbows out behind you. And then flow with the breath in this way. Inhaling, opening the heart, opening the chest, and exhaling, drawing inward. And be a very small range of movement here, or you can make it bigger. Just feel, sense how your body wants to move, how your body wants to receive the breath in this moment. As you're moving very gently, very mindfully with your own breath. We'll do this one final time. And then the next time you have moved forward, when you inhale again, come to standing or to seated or to kneeling upright. There's one more movement of the spine that we will make with the breath, and it's a gentle rotation of the spine. And so for this, you can have your arms out to the side, or you can have them down, just depending on this, if this is too much requirement for your body. And then as you exhale, gently rotate to the right. As you inhale, come forward, gently rotate to the left. Inhaling forward. And take a few rotations like this. Inviting a little twist into the spine. This is another way of preparing our lungs for deep breathing. So whenever we do breathing practices, we want to warm the body up first. We want the body to feel very ready to receive a nice deep breath. We take a couple more rounds of rotations here. And the next time you have turned to the left, when you come back, you can release your arms, you can release the twisting motion. And then from here, we will move into our first official breathing practice. This breath is called connection breath, and we will do it standing. And it is a somewhat synchronized breath, so we will move together, and I will talk us through it. There are 6 movements to this breath that we'll repeat a few times. And so I'll talk you through it, and then as it becomes more second nature to you, you could close your eyes if you felt stable. So we start with the arms by our side, and we allow a nice exhalation here. And then with an inhalation, we will bring the arms up and overhead. Palms touch above the head. And then as you exhale, you draw the hands down your midline to the heart. With your next inhalation, the arms reach out as if you were going to embrace the world. And as you exhale, the arms draw back to center, palms touching again at your heart. With your next inhalation, the arms reach up toward the sky. And with the exhalation, they circle back down all the way to your heart. And from here, these movements repeat. Inhale, reach the arms up toward the sky. Palms touch. Exhale, draw the power of the sky to your own heart. Inhale, embrace the world. Exhale and draw the beauty of the world into your own heart. Inhale, reach for the sky. Exhale, let the arms travel around the world and back to your heart. Inhale, reach for the sky. Palms touch. Draw the power of the sky into your own heart. Inhale, embrace your world. Exhale, draw the beauty of the world into your heart. Inhale, reach for the sky, a higher purpose. And then exhale and draw that higher purpose into your own. Inhale, reach for the sky. Come into your own heart. Embrace the world. Bring its beauty to your own heart. Inhale toward a higher purpose. Exhale to bring purpose into your own life. One more round. Inhale, reach for the sky. Exhale, draw its power into your own heart. Inhale to embrace the world. Exhale to draw the world into your own heart. Inhale, reach for meaning. Exhale and draw meaning into your own heart. Let your arms stay at your heart if this feels appropriate. And take a moment here to breathe. To notice perhaps your own heartbeat at your thumbs. If you feel stable enough, you could even close your eyes, or you can cast them downward to find a gaze point on the floor. Feel the pulsation of life as it moves through your body in the form of breath. Notice your own vibrancy created by this beautiful dance of breath and body. With your next exhalation, release your hands. And I invite you to come back downward now. You can choose to be on the floor, or you could be on a couch or a bed. And I actually invite you to lie down. If that feels really uncomfortable, you can be seated. Totally fine. Whatever works for you. If you do choose to lie on your back, it might be helpful to have a little blanket or a tiny pillow under your head, so that your forehead is higher than your chin. You don't want your throat to be hyperextended during practices like these, because that'll take you back into a fight or flight response, whereas a gentle tuck in the chin will help you calm your nervous system. And so if you are lying down, and I'll just show this on the floor, you might have the head on the blanket, and then your legs can be stretched out, but for some people that's not great for their low back. And so you can experiment with bringing your feet about 2 feet or so apart, and then let the knees touch together. That's a really comfortable position for the legs. If that doesn't work, you can take a big pillow or like a nice big rolled blanket, and you can stretch the legs out. I only have one blanket, so I'll show it like this, and have that blanket under the knees like that, so that there's a little bit of a bend in the knees. And that too is really nice for the low back. So just take your time in really figuring out how you want to arrange yourself in space. And if you are seated, you might want to have a seat that has a back so that you can relax into the seat, or make sure that you are sitting up on something like a blanket or a cushion, so that your legs are resting on the earth and you have a nice neutral spine. So those are your options, and you'll be pretty much in this position for the next 20 to 25 minutes. And so make it one that's comfortable. From here, I invite you to wiggle yourself into place. Really feel your body, feel the connection of the body to the earth, and know that you can always readjust and move so that your body stays comfortable and connected. What we really don't want is to create tension in the body, and so feel very free to wiggle and move as you need to as we go through our breathing, our next breathing practice. I once again invite you to close your eyes if that feels comfortable, or to find a gaze, casting the eyes and the eyelids down. And as the body relaxes into whichever position you have chosen, gently draw your attention to your breath. There is no need to try to change the breath in any way. You are simply observing the natural state of your breath as it unfolds in this moment. And so notice how the breath is moving through you right now. It may have shifted with a little bit of movement just engaged in. There are lots of different ways in which we can observe the breath. Earlier we looked at how the breath is dancing with the body. Invite your attention now to exploring how long it takes you to breathe in and out. You might do this by counting to see how large of a count you achieve on the inhalation, and then counting to see how far you count on the exhalation. Not in any attempt to lengthen the breath, but only the plan to learn about the breath. To learn how many beats it takes you to breathe in, how many beats it takes you to breathe out. Counting the breath in this way also gives the mind something to do, so it's less likely to wander off into other places. And as you're counting how long it takes you to inhale and to exhale, also note whether one part of the breath is longer than the other. Just noticing. No need to change anything. Is the inhalation perhaps slightly longer than the exhalation, or vice versa, or are they balanced in length? You're simply curious to note that. And then draw your attention to how deeply you're breathing. This is only your subjective perception of how shallow or how deep your breath is flowing in this moment. Does it feel as though you're deeply filling the lungs and that you're profoundly emptying the lungs on the exhalation? Or does it seem as though very little air is moving in or out? Just get a sense of how deep or how shallow is your breath in this moment. There is no judgment, no expectation. You're completely open-minded and open-hearted about what you might find out. Now, it is a law of physics that anything that is observed might change just from being observed. And so if you notice that your breath is changing along the way, that is absolutely natural. Embrace it and simply notice. This is a practice of mindfulness. And so whatever presents itself, be present for it. And having gained an appreciation of how deeply or shallowly you are breathing in this moment, draw your attention now to the texture of the breath. Is the breath moving smoothly? Or are there little hitches or glitches? Is the breath soft or tight or tense? Is it gentle or harsh? Does it move smoothly, or is it a bit raspy? Again, simply notice, mindfully observe. What is the texture of your breath in this moment? There isn't a right or a wrong. Invite yourself to be mindful, to be open-hearted about whatever shows up in the breath. Perhaps notice if the texture of the inhalation is different from the texture of the exhalation. And just noticing without judgment. And then I invite you to notice all of the different parts of the breath. You may think, oh, all of the different parts, how many are there? Potentially there are 4 parts of the breath. And so begin by noticing the inhalation. At the end of the inhalation, there may be a tiny moment of stillness, a tiny pause of calm before the exhalation begins. That's the second part of the breath. That's the pause at the top of the breath. Then there's the exhalation. And then notice if there might be a tiny pause or gap for you at the bottom of the breath, a moment of stillness, a moment of quiet. At the end of the exhalation, before the inhalation begins. And continue to watch the breath in this way, paying attention to the inhalation, then noticing if there is a gap at the top of the breath. Attending to the exhalation, and then noticing if there is a gap at the bottom of the breath. Continue to breathe in this way without expectation about finding a pause, about how long that pause might be. Continuing to watch and observe mindfully. Inhaling, pausing, exhaling, pausing. The pause at the top and the bottom might only last a fraction of a second for you today. Simply notice, no judgment, no expectation, no need to change anything. The pause at the top and the bottom of the breath, when they're natural, are a moment of stillness. They're a moment of calm. They're a moment of nothing happening. A moment of stillness in each breath cycle, one at the top, one at the bottom. Is an inspiration for your mind too, to find a sense of stillness. To cultivate a sense of calm. To cultivate a gap between stimulus and response. So continue to watch the breath in this way. Maybe still having your awareness too that the breath takes a certain amount of time to flow in and to flow out. That the breath may be deep or shallow or just so. The breath has a texture. And that all the while the breath is dancing with the body. When you attend to the breath in this way, your mind becomes firmly partnered with your breath and your body. You're creating a sense of union between your physical being as represented by your body, your energetic being as represented by the breath, and your cognitive and emotional being as represented by the mind. All three of these layers, when they work in unison, can bring you a sense of calm, a sense of quietude, a sense of settledness that invites you to feel more connected to yourself, to your loved ones, to your community. This is the sense of stillness that can arise from observing the breath mindfully, that invites you into yourself, and in that way, it regulates your nervous system. Breath, body, mind, working together to help you find resilience and adaptability. I invite you now to sense your breath at the center of your chest, behind the sternum, the breastbone. This is what we call your yogic heart. Feel the movement of your breath in that part of you. And imagine that the breath moving in your heart space is kindling a gentle glow, a gentle light that shines within you. Each inhalation nurtures that light even more. And each exhalation guides that light deeper into your body. So that as you inhale, that light glows more deeply, more sweetly. And as you exhale, that light grows and moves farther through your chest. As you continue to breathe in and out, this warm glow may distribute itself through your entire torso. As you continue to breathe, you may feel this sense of glow or pulsation or vibration moving outward into your extremities, your legs, your arms, even your neck. And as the breath continues to move, its glow, its warmth, its pulsation may permeate your entire body. From the center of your chest to the crown of your head, to your fingertips and your toes. A warm glow, a gentle pulsation filling your entire being. And perhaps as you continue to breathe, that glow moves beyond the confines of your own body, connecting you to the world around you. So that as you continue to breathe, that glow, that pulsation envelops your loved ones, your family, your friends. Spreading this sense of peace, this sense of quiet, this sense of calm into your community. Moving further and further outward to envelop greater and greater community, so that your own nervous system regulation can help regulate the nervous systems of those with whom you come in contact. So that your capacity for quietude, for calm, for resilience invites others to find the same within them. And then gently invite that glow to come back to your own heart. Drawing that light inwards. Recognizing that this capacity to create a sense of calm, a sense of release and resilience is always at your fingertips. It is always within reach as long as you can breathe. When you feel the stress of the times, ground yourself to the earth, and then feel your own breath in your body. Find your inhalation and your exhalation. And find that moment of stillness at the top and the bottom of each breath cycle. Stillness that is yours, not just in the breath, but also in the mind and also in your relationship. From that place of knowing and feeling your own resilience, your own capacity to regulate your nervous system, to find a sense of calm, a sense of stillness, I invite you now to rest for just a few moments in complete silence. Gently invite your senses to awaken to the outer world. Maybe you can become aware of sounds around you. Maybe there's an aroma in the air around you. Perhaps you can feel the air on your skin, or the clothing or blankets that cover you. You could even blink your eyes open for a moment to see the world around you as you reawaken into this time and into this place. Gently begin to wiggle and move your body awake. You might choose to take a little bit of a stretch, or maybe you're wiggling your eyebrows or hands and feet. Just notice very intuitively how your body might want to move in this moment. And then invite a conscious breath in and out. And then before you move anywhere, think about how you will journey back to come to a seat. If you're lying down, it might serve you well to roll to your right side, rest there for a moment, and then to use your left arm and hand to help you up, for example. And once you've envisioned that journey, then go ahead and begin that transition. Take it nice and gentle. Find a seat. And once you have found a seat, choose a conscious position for your hands. You might rest your hands on your thighs with palms down or palms up, or maybe your hands rest in your lap, or maybe you bring your palms to your chest, stacked on each other, or maybe you choose that palms together position that we used in connection breath, whatever feels appropriate for you in this moment. And then I invite you to bow your head to your heart. Tune in one more time to that vibration within you that is your breath. Tune in one more time to the reality that breath and body are completely interconnected. Tune in to the reality that through the breath, you can calm your body and your mind. And tune into the reality that when you find calmness, when you find stillness within you, you also send a sense of calm, a sense of quietude, a sense of stillness into your community, fostering kindness, compassion, and peace. Thank you so much for joining me in this breathing practice. It's an honor and a joy to share the beauty of yoga, the beauty of the breath. Thank you so much.